Welcome to the Printing Bureau, where we unlock market secrets through cutting-edge predictive analysis and forecasts. Dive deep with us as we explore stocks, commodities, crypto, forex, and property. Remember, while we provide insights, this information is for educational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Market predictions are inherently uncertain, so always do your own research and consult with a financial advisor. We're not liable for any losses or damages. Let's navigate the markets together.
Guys, welcome to the weekly review with Penny and James. So we're going to start with the usual pairs. I'm going to kick it off with Dixie. So let's get going. Let's start with Dixie from the weekly chart. This candle we formed in the weekly chart is closed outside the KC channel. So I expect this to go lower. It's just the way it is. We'll go lower, at least one candle lower, another week lower. And I probably would say maybe 3 weeks in a row, because you go lower next week and you go another lower again to form a divergence like this one. So you have this, you go red, and then you have something like this that returns you back. That's the sort of pattern I'll be looking to play here. So, I mean, you could get a small bounce back up to the KC channel, which is sitting at 96.96. So you could get a small bounce up to this point here, which is where my interest box is for a bounce. This is a bounce, right? This is not a reversal. This is just a bounce into somewhere into this box. I'll probably move it a little bit lower. And then you continue going down. So that's the Dixie for me. I think ultimately I would think that Dixie will come all the way to, if we look at it on a monthly chart and look at the support zone. The support zone currently is sitting around here, around 91, and I think it will go lower than 91. You're probably looking at 89, which is where I put my box here as the final stop for Dixie. So Dixie's got a long way down. We're not, I mean, we're not finished at all. After it broke in this key support trend line, that's not good. So I think, we're coming all the way down here, but it's not going to happen next week. For next week, I would think, yeah, we go down a bit more. We probably go a few more weeks going down on the Dixie. And at the same time as well, you've got the dead cross incoming. So the dead cross is incoming, and with this dead cross, what you're going to see is when it's coming, we may get a bounce. So that would be the potential reason for a bounce up, would be the dead cross, and afterwards you continue going down. So that's all I've got for the Dixie into next week. And I'm going to pass it over to James to share his thoughts as well.
Yeah, so we're definitely testing the lower side of this megaphone pattern here, the orange dotted line. We kind of closed right at it, right exactly there. If we're gonna go lower next week, on open tomorrow or tonight, it's gonna be a pretty parabolic move to the downside. But I would err on the side of we kind of grind this level out, probably don't move a lot, and then move up into this yellow zone, and then work out the rest of this triangle probably until October, November of later this year. So I'm expecting a bounce here just because we have 1, 2, 3 touches. We are right there though, and a close below on a daily will invalidate this this pattern here of a megaphone. So again, just erring on the side of sideways then up, because if we go below this band, it's going to get nasty and it's going to be quick and fast. So just be prepared for that if that does happen. That's all I got for Dixie.
Cool. All right, guys. Our next pair that we're looking at is the Nasdaq. Last week, obviously, we had these, our interest zone, and you can see, I think, we hit it. But I've moved this further up from yesterday's video. But the calls from James and myself on this was really on point. Now I expect higher prices on this. So, it's very bullish. I'm expecting it to go higher. I think next week we'll close into somewhere in this box, maybe even outside the KC channel, and we'll go higher. So, there's not much to say here. I think, you just have to get your lungs in play, and sit back and relax and let the magic happen. So, I'm not going to say much on this. That's all I've got. I'm going to pass it over to James to share his thoughts as well.
Yep. So same idea. Gonna kind of expect this to grind out this daily Bollinger Band kind of on an angle here. And the shorts, I'm not interested in until about 25,000, give or take $100. And yep, just gonna expect this to continue sideways up. There was a possibility of touching, maybe going sideways, but that is not the case at all. So that's all I got for NASDAQ.
All right, guys. So the next pair we've got is the XPX, and again, it's a very similar story to the Nasdaq. Is going higher. We've closed outside the Bollinger Band, and we're gonna go higher. So, this is our interest box for next week. We're definitely going higher. I'm not interested in shorts at the moment at all. It's a very strong, strong, strong chart. We may get a slight pullback. Okay, so we may get a slight pullback into early part of next week, maybe to test these tops here, but that's a slight pullback. So if you want an entry, somewhere here around the, 6125, will be a great area to enter, or even slightly higher, around 6149. So 6125 to 6150, anywhere there would be a good entry for your long position. So yeah, it's looking really, really bullish and strong. So that's what I've got on that, and I'm gonna pass it over to James to share his thoughts as well.
All right. So I am more bullish on the S&P 500 than NASDAQ. Don't think war is going to slow down anytime soon. I don't think the missiles are going to slow down anytime soon. And the S&P 500 is going to outperform NASDAQ. So continuing up, more bullish than NASDAQ. That's all I got for S&P.
All right, guy. Our next pair is gold, and I think last week again we called for this to come down. And it's on its way down. We're not in our interest box yet, but it's on its way towards the interest box. And I expect gold to come all the way down to this point here, somewhere here, into here, somewhere there, between here. That's the ultimate destination. But I think for next week, I think we'll probably touch this place first, and then maybe have a small fight here, sideways fight for a while before we roll over. So it's a good shot, even if you're going close to the monthly, look at the monthly, it's giving you a rejection candle. So this is definitely a shot for me, and it's been a shot for me all the way from here. So pretty good, retest of the wick and then continue your journey down. And if we break this pivot, then we're coming all the way down to the ultimate target, which is sitting down here around 2.7. I think we'll get to 2.7 before we start going back up on gold again. So very, very good shot. Maybe it bounces up a little bit back to say, let's move this here. Maybe it bounces back up to about 3,300. So if you want an entry, that could be a very good place to enter for your short. And obviously you just print it down into the box. So that's all I've got for gold. And I'm just going to pass it over to James to share his thoughts as well.
So we had this blue box here. We had this liquidity up here that we went and got a little taste of. And I think market makers are getting what they want. I think they got what they want by breaking this formation to the downside here. Um, there's shorts coming into the market left and right. And if they want to dip to this low, grab some stop losses, I don't see why they can't come down here and grab this liquidity. But usually with this kind of thing, when you study how this trend has been playing out with this lower Bollinger right here, I don't see us going past 32, 36 on the chart. And I think this J pattern will probably continue to play out. Gold has been the secure currency of the world for thousands of years, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Though this time, I think Bitcoin will follow its trajectory. So that's all I got for gold.
Okay, guys. So our next pair we're looking at is Bitcoin. So this is the CME Bitcoin chart. And last week, I had this zone here, came right into the zone, and obviously went back up. So this week, I do expect us to continue going up. I'll probably say we'll have a new high, all-time high. We could get a small pullback, and that is very likely into the, I say 105 zone. So the tops here, the tops here. So the tops here become real support. So here, into here becomes a real support for a pullback. So if you're looking for an entry on this, the likelihood is, somewhere around 105.4, 105.3. I mean, worst case scenario, maybe we get into 103.1, 104, something like that. But I think this place has become very, very strong support zone, and that's the previous candle. So this becomes a support zone. This also is a support zone as well. So you've got, I guess, presumably, for a pullback, you could say between this zone and that zone into this zone here becomes your pullback zone for Bitcoin. And that's sitting lovely, nicely in the wick of this candle, and then you continue going up would be what I would say. But yeah, this is very bullish. I don't expect this candle to turn red at midnight when I'm sleeping. So we're definitely going to go higher. So it's very bullish, and this is the CME chart, which is closed. Now I'm going to look at the Binance perpetual chart and kind of look at what's going on there. So what we can see on this Binance perpetual chart is, again, we're forming a green candle, bullish green candle, engulfing candle. The volume is reasonably good. The MACD is green. So I expect more further upside. Like I said, there could be a pullback to somewhere around these zones, the 104,520. But that's only a small pullback for those who want to enter the long position trade. But I don't think we will see anything below 100,000 on Bitcoin. That is not going to happen. Very unlikely. Not going to happen. About 80%, 80 to 90% probability that it doesn't happen. So bullish, 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 bullish. And let me pass it over to James to share his thoughts as well.
Yep. So just to kick it off where we were last week, me and Kenneth have been studying these bottoms, trying to get to the bottom, no pun intended, of what goes on when we know price is reversing. We know these things are happening, and we're in the process of cooking something up to where we can understand what goes on at these bottoms and really take advantage when we know what's going to happen. Because in trading, you never want to say you know things 100%, but sometimes when we got things 80, 85% locked in, we need to study that. So congrats on everyone who caught this move here, and let's get into this week. So just to kind of figure out what's going on in this chart right now, let's go to the hourly and study our volume. So the pink lines are what I drew, and the dark red is our threshold, just to be clear. So when we see, so what is an engulfing? So an engulfing is, it could be a number of things. In this situation, we're going to consider it as volume has been decreasing, and we can see it with this highest pink line. And we can draw a line at the last markable volume. So based on our trend line, the last one to touch is this. Let's draw a horizontal line. And in theory, these have engulfed this. Now you might say to yourself, that's bullish. No, the market maker is showing their hand. They're showing what they want people to think. because they can. You know, market makers have a lot of power, right? But they don't have that much influence in these areas when prices at the highest. This is more of a steady flow of economics and the market having a reaction to the market makers um abuse on the system per se for the past weeks or months. So these are when things get finalized by the market. And when the market makers show their hand is in little situations like this. When there isn't a lot of volume, it's the weekend, so let's see what they do. They bid price up. So here we are today, and let's look to see where volume is when this kind of turns around. So liquidity on the market, liquidity on the books for price to travel to when price eventually decides that this was a fake move and it only happened because there was low volume. And Bitcoin wants liquidity. It survives off it. So it's going to go search up here for liquidity. Look, what is this? This is a new high. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 highs taken out right here. Stop loss is 8. So there, Bitcoin is happy now. It just absorbed so much liquidity back into itself. It's probably going to go down and try to get more. So here's the blue box again. If you guys remember this blue box from either last weekend or 2 weekends ago, here it is again, okay? And this was made on the 15-minute time frame with the dark red threshold. So we put a box around it, and we also mapped out the declining volume on the 15-minute. And here we can kind of see more clearly what happened. You can kind of see more clearly the threshold break of our declining volume. So back to the hourly, what I do believe is going to happen is Bitcoin is going to travel lower into the 103.5 to 104.5 range, and I will be aiming to buy. If you're looking to short, if say, you know, this isn't financial advice, but hypothetically, if you were paper trading and you were looking to short, um, I would be looking at when these candles are resolved. So when price moves below these green candles, if it doesn't turn back up, because that's what we're scared of. We're scared of this liquidity being eaten and then price being happy and turning back up. So we want to wait until Bitcoin is not satisfied with these candles. But you know, timing the short on Bitcoin is pretty hard because this could, you know, grind up, you know, Monday morning on open, we could be up here. So I would kind of wait for Monday morning to play out and then try to look in to jump in like anywhere in the $108,000 range, you know, maybe 108.3, 108.5. That would be a perfect scenario. A Monday open at, you know, up at this circle here. That's when I would be interested in shorting. As of now, I would be waiting to buy, you know, on my paper trading account for Bitcoin. Um, Once again, this is not financial advice, but area of interest for myself is 104,000. So that's all I got for Bitcoin.